Thank you very much. First of all, for the invitation. It's an honor to be here, and I can feel a certain experience in the room. So I'm looking very much forward to also to listen to you during the day. Feel free to ask me questions during my presentation. We'll have some time afterwards also, but don't be afraid to interrupt. Ernst, it was really a pleasure to listen to you. I was studying to become a teacher in Denmark 40 years ago when this started, and this was really it was going to my teacher education again, and I'm so happy to hear that this is still working in this way, because what we do in my school is we try to prepare our students to go also into your university to work like this. And this is perhaps what I want most to give you an expression about. How can we as teachers, as headmasters in a public school, prepare the children for this future, where I'm sure that this way of working, this way of learning will still exist and will be very important. And I will come back to that because this is part of our work in our school. First, I would like to show you a small film from our school, because I'm so happy that some of you I know were present in our school, visited our school, but just 2 minutes film, just to have the visual impression of our school. Hellerup School is a new school which is only 8 years old. We have a specific focus on the single child and also the way the single child learns. And this means that we put up aims together with the children, put up aims for the single child, and we evaluate the child very closely.
What makes Hellerup School so different is the whole way it's built up. And the way it's built up is this idea that we don't know what is expected from the pupils when they have finished their education, maybe 20 years in the future. The school is very flexible. We can change the learning areas from time to time, and that gives us possibility to do things different.
It's a kind of common way to understand learning in our community. And we have a very big advantage that we can do it in a new school, where also the way the school is built support this way of thinking regarding how does the single child learn best. We have no classrooms, we are an open learning environment, and the children can always find a place to work where they are they like very much to sit and work in this kind of way. So this is the basic principle. We use ICT very much in the work, and they use it very much integrated in the projects. We have in the school many stationary computers, but also many laptops which are used in different working situations. We try to teach our students to use the nets as much as possible, and we have in the full house we have a wireless network. So I think in this way we integrate ICT very much.
We use it a lot as a communication between pupils, parents and teachers. It's very easy to get in contact with the parents because we use the ICT all the way, and also even pupils down in the first and second grade, they sometimes do their homework on ICT.
By breaking down some traditional structures, we can prepare the children better for not only next year, but also perhaps for 2020 or even 2040. So I think it's better to have these kind of hooks when I start to speak, because now you have a clear impression. We had in the film we said we are 9 years old, now we are 12 years old.
we have a public school, and that means we have all the duties that other public schools. We have around 670 students, and we have to secure the parents that the students in our school will learn the same things, will do the same exams, will have the same marks as the other schools, and our neighbor schools are really ranking very high in Denmark. So we want to be innovative, but still we have to produce traditional results. This is really a big challenge, because in a way, the way we evaluate the children in Denmark has not developed. It's the same kind of exams, even though now we have a chance again to have this cross exams in science, for instance, we will do that. But we have to produce the same results, very ambitious municipality. But we made a new vision in our municipality that we put the single child into focus, center, and then we have to arrange the organization around the child according to this vision. So in this way we can do different things. The idea of the school was that we have a special pedagogy based on this vision, based on learning style, different learning styles for the child, and we had this idea before the school was built, and that was a big advantage, because in the planning phase, students, parents, and even teachers who were not starting to work in the school, but they worked in the planning group. So they worked together with the architects, and they found out we can have an open space learning environment like this, and then the school was built. But all this working together in a kind of coherent thinking was just input for the architects. And it's much, I came from a school where we had the same ideas of learning, but it was in a traditional building, and it was much more difficult, you know, to make it into practice. But in our school now, it fits. Pedagogy and building fits. And the learning environment is, in many situations, a kind of second teacher for the children. You can use the learning environment as a kind of second teacher in many situations. Then we have, when the children are small, from we call it kindergarten class till third class, we have a kind of vertical planning. So a child of 6 can work together with a child of 9. When they come to 4th grade and up to 9th grade, it's a vertical. So we have in our home areas 3 grades of 4 grades together. That means 70 students are 3 classes on the paper, but they are 70 students together. And in this way we can arrange what we call a parallel learning. That means if one class is having Danish, the 2 other classes are also having Danish, and 3 teachers are working after the same plan with 70 students. And the students, they spread out in the house, and the teachers know where they are, and then they walk around, and they support the children in their learning. We can find many situations where a teacher needs a blackboard, or he needs to have the group together, and we can arrange. We arrange by the furniture, or by movable blackboards, or movable TVs, or whatever. But we can always arrange a frame for that specific activity, according to what is best for the activity. The children don't have to adapt to a room, you know, with all their activities. So this kind of flexible thinking is possible. Then it's not possible for a teacher to work in our school if you don't have a good relation to the children, because they are so close. They work in a very transparent normal day. It's very transparent. Everybody can see what you're doing. You cannot close your door. Even we have a lot of visitors coming to our school all the time, and they can stand just a little aside, and the teacher is practicing, and you have to be able to do that. And then our teachers, I think in some schools it's very normal that when you finish your lesson, you go to a room. I don't know what it's called in English. The teacher's room. You have a coffee or tea or staff room, to the staff room. But our teachers, okay, we have a staff room, and this is where we have our big meetings. But they stay with the children because they have their working places where the children are, and they stay with them also in the breaks. And that prevents a lot of problems, because it's normally in the breaks that we have some conflicts or whatever. But there's always a teacher or a pedagogue close, and the teacher and the children can go to the teachers very easily. Then we organize the teachers in what we call autonomous teams, and teachers and pedagogues, because we have a very close cooperation with the pedagogues, or leisure time teachers we call them. But they are a team of, let's say, 7, 8 around 3 classes, and they plan the year. They arrange. They also decide who can take which subjects. We know, of course, from the planning when we put together the teams, if all subjects are covered. But they decide themselves who can take this subject in this class, like this. They are very autonomous. And my challenge when I came to the school 6 years ago was that we had 9 teams in the school, and they had developed different cultures. Because it's very important in a school like ours that we also have a kind of common culture. But this is a risk to have autonomous teams. You have to frame it. Then we can only do what we're doing, work like we do, if there's a trust between the teachers and the students. Because the student, we give a lot of freedom to the students, but we trust they can manage this in a good way. When we have visitors, especially from England, in our school, they cannot understand where's the fence. We are very close to the seaside. It's only 50 meters to the seaside. It's open beach. We are very close to one of the biggest roads, but we have no fence. So we trust that the students are not running into the street or jumping into the sea. They only do it one day a year. It's 9th grade on the last day they jump into the sea. But we trust them, and we learn them. We teach them how to do, how to behave in a situation like this. And we can do it by painting a line on the ground. You are not allowed to step over this line. We have to trust it, and to be honest, I never had a problem in 6 years with this. Then we have this very close contact between teachers and students, and also not only because of the conflicts preventing, but also according to our pedagogy. Once you go into our school, it seems, sorry.
Just before you move on, I have to ask a question that relates to this relations part. I get that the relations are good, and companionship between staff and students and everyone together is therefore good. But in terms of the human being in that environment seeking silence and solitude, how do you manage that need?
It can sound a little bit contradictory, but it's more easy in our house. Because if you are in the classroom and you want to be a little bit by yourself, it's very difficult because everybody can see that you are in the corner or you are here. In our house, it's almost possible to find a corner where you can be yourself. And the teachers, they arrange in the home area, they arrange some zones, they call it, with different colors. One zone is if you want to work alone. One zone is if you want to work in pairs, in groups, or even at the table where the teacher is reachable all the time. One of the teachers is reachable. So in this way, if you feel that day you want to be a little by yourself, it's possible. And this is also why I think we have a good solution on one of our major challenges. This is inclusion, of course, because now the trend is that we have to take in the public school much more children than before were in special schools. And our part of that is ADHD children coming into our school. But we put them into the classes, and then we say if they come to a situation where they need to be shielded, we have a place and the teacher can walk with them to the place. But normally they are in the class, because in the class, if they feel, now I need 5 minutes for myself, I can go to a small corner, created by the movable wall or a bookshelf or whatever, and I can just breathe. And then after 5 minutes, I can go back to my group. And nobody takes care. And this child is not exposed to the other children in the same way as if you are in a normal classroom. And in this way, and it's a challenge also, because this philosophy is now known not only in our municipality but also neighbor municipality. So parents who have children with ADHD or something like that, they want to come into our school, and then it's according to the laws if we can take them in or we can't. But I think we find a solution on this challenge.
Can I just ask about noise?
Yeah.
Because it's one so
Yeah.
and it's not very padded. I imagine that something that's quite quiet.
You're quite right. That was the biggest challenge the first, let's say, 3-4 years, acoustics. And it's regulated in many different ways, with, on the walls. Even every child has a locker, and the front of the locker is kind of absorbing the noise. So if you come to our school when all classes started, let's say 9 o'clock, the first impression is, and I hear many parents say that when I show around, where are the children? Because it's impossible to understand that almost 700 students can be in one room together. But one of the explanations is that if you give responsibility to children to work in a house like this, they regulate themselves to a certain degree. And I can remember from my old school, if I opened the door after 45 minutes, boring German, I talk German, sorry. But then the noise running out of the classroom was very higher than what I hear today. In some situations, we can, of course, a child can run after another child. But in general, they regulate themselves and they take care because they know that they don't want to be interrupted themselves if they work. Okay, behind this surface, a very free day, of course, there's a lot of structure because we cannot. We have to do the same number of lessons. We have to, as I said, to produce the same marks. What we do is we have in a year we have in Denmark 14 weeks. We have 22 academic. Now I speak 7th to 9th grade. 22 academic weeks and 18 problem-orientated weeks. And we have to organize it because it's also very important how we use the teachers. If you have, we can say an academic week, and they are going to watch a movie or they are going to hear a presentation, it's possible for one teacher to do a presentation for 70 students, or one teacher can operate the monitor. If we work project orientated, and especially when they have to define the problem, it needs so much power from the teachers that we need sometimes 5 teachers for this phase of the project orientated work. So we can use the teachers in a flexible way, and we have what we call the flexible timetable. And what we do also is that we, in some lessons, we make we call it teams. Let's say they go for science, and we have 3 classes, but we put them to 4 teams, and then we say we are not allowed to make the teams according to the level of marks or something like that, but we make the teams according to motivation or interest. And then they say for the next 3 weeks period we work with volcanoes. How is your motivation to work with that, your interest to work with that? If it's very high, you go on team A. If it's not very high, or you are very tired for the moment, or you need to do some sports or whatever, you go on team B. But the next period, they can switch according to motivation or interest. And then it's allowed to make an organization like that, which support the idea of problem-oriented way. So there is what we said, there's a firm framing around this, the structure behind the structure with the different weeks. Then we have, of course, not only to focus on the academic skills, but also social and personal skills, and the teachers have different tools to do that. Then, as a part, we had a new school reform in Denmark in August, and we have to think about this coherent day for the student and the parents. And that means a lot of structures have been broken down, and we have to take in also pedagogues on higher level in the school. And then these anchoring standards, these are because if you work with autonomous teams, you create different cultures. This is really a critical point. You have to find some quality standards which are a must for all teams. And this we call the anchors, and that's from the homework, it's about project work, it's about information to the parents, all things like this. So that if a family has 2 children in our school, in 2nd grade and 8th grade, they can recognize this is the same school. So these anchors we made. Then we work very much right now with what we call 21st century skills. This is, we always said we want to prepare the students for 2020, 2040, but we also identified some skills which are necessary to give to our children, and this is about cooperation, about use of ITC, about responsibility. We call it in Denmark responsibility for own learning, of course supported by the teachers. And then we work right now, a new project for 3 years with visible learning, and this is perhaps also an answer to your question before. How can we secure that we reach the content? Okay, no matter what we create in our problem.
And that everyone goes down to school with the same content and the same knowledge.
Yeah.
Sorry, it seems a bit of a monster to you, but that's the way I've been educated in Belgium, because we followed the example of France.
Yeah, okay. But you could say we have, whatever they choose, we have to have specific goals. We have to focus on the progression towards the goal. And we have to be courageous enough to say every child must have expectations or challenges. Even also the students who are very clever, they can be pushed. We have to push every child, and this is very, of course, for the teacher, demanding some new ways to work. And this is where we take in a lot of things. I take it from the sport, that we have to focus on the visible progression. If you have a clear goal and you have time to measure this, not by examination but through conversations, then we can perhaps see, or we can see the progression. And then this is of course from John Hattie. We have this inspiration, and perhaps you know this list of which factors gives the best impact on the students' learning. And I was very happy when I read that, because if you speak with the children and you ask them to assess themselves also, to identify the goals from the beginning, and also to look at how am I progressing. Then we have this self-assessment and we have the feedback, and they are topping the list of the impact on learning. So for me it was very clear we have to take this in to our pedagogy. And these are our 8, perhaps you can recognize, Jackie, from the party,
Yeah.
the students. They have this trust, and we made a system with the contact teachers that we say normal system is that every class has a class teacher, but we say no, all teachers must have 15 students where we have a closer relation to this child, where we can systemize time to have close conversations with the child in order to push it, not only for the content, but for also for the abilities to study. Because this is what we, in our municipality, 80% of the students go to gymnasium. So what we have to give them is ability to take the next step. What is demanded to be a good student. And then of course we integrate, as you saw on the film, a lot of ICT. Yeah.
I like how you answered the first question on the basis of how you support the children, but this model seems to place a lot of trust and focus on the teachers. Unless you're going to cover it later, how do you support your teachers? Because they seem to have a lot of... They need to manage their energy almost as well or better than their students.
It's a very demanding school to be a teacher in, because if you have so close relation to the students, you have to be very professional in many situations, not to be too engaged in whatever situation they are involved in. We try to be close, because a student-centered leadership is also to be close to the teachers, because we need to know the teachers, know the students, sometimes through the teachers, but we organize it in a way that we have, each team has meeting, 2 hours meeting a week, and we are 3 in the leadership, and one of us must be present with in this team meeting with the teachers to hear the ideas of the students and to hear where are their challenges. So we try to be close to the teachers in this way.
Just kind of
Yeah.
wrap it up for us, thank you.
Yeah, I'm finished now. Just to say that also for us, when we work with these 21st century skills, we also try to involve the students in being teachers, not only to each other, peer to peer, but also this group. Really, they tour Denmark for the moment, speaking about how they work with the teachers regarding these, and it's a part of their education if they can do this. And this is not spelled, it's spelled in Danish, huh? But you understand the meeting. This is a day. This is not a normal day in school, but you have to be able to contain chaos, because as long as you know behind chaos is a clear idea and a clear structure.